Hello and welcome to Scrappy Loom Sewing. I'm JC Joellen and today I'm going to show you a quilt block that I'm calling Constellation. And the reason I'm calling it that is because every time I look at it I think of astronomy. Astronomy? Astrology. Astronomy. Astronomy. You know, the stars and the planets. Anyway, that's what it reminds me of, so that's where I came up with the name. And this is what it looks like. It's easy, because you know I love easy. And I'm making them large so that it doesn't take much time to finish them up. And I won't need as many blocks, so I can get it done relatively quickly. Champion, come up here and say hello. Come here, pop up. Pop up, come here. Pop up. Over here, this way, on this side. Pop up. Ooh, this is Champion, my baby. He thinks he's supposed to have all the attention. He can't stand it when the attention is not on him. All right, you have to get out. Let's go. Go, go, go. Go, go. I'll be out in a minute. Sorry for the interruption. Now back to work. Again, here's what the blocks look like. And I'm making them large so I don't need a whole bunch of them. Mine is going to end up a queen size quilt. My backgrounds, my blocks are being cut, been sewn together at 16 inches, and I'm going to cut them down to 15.5 inches. Most likely 15 or 15.5 inches, depending on how much shrinkage there is once I put the appliques on. So, what you need to get started is 2 color palettes. One for the background and one for the appliques. For my appliques, I went with brights. I'm doing a green, an orangey yellow, and then a yellow. Oh, excuse me. And for my background, I went with 6 prints. I've got 2 reds. And then I've got this print here, which I love. This one here, which I also love. This one here, it's just kind of a geometric. And then I've got this one here. And I'm probably going to pull in another red because I'm out of red now. And I'm not done with my blocks. So I'm going to pull another red in. So I'll end up with 7 for the background at least. So anyway, what you do is you cut strips. We make 2 strip sets. 1 strip set for the background, which ends up like this. And 1 strip set for the appliques. And so something like this. And every strip set is a little different from the next. They're all the same, but different. Just like us people. We're all the same, but different. I don't know how God pulled that one off. But he did. So anyway, once you have your color palettes ready, the great thing about this is there's not a lot of calculation. There's not a lot of measurements to keep up with. All you do is you cut strips out of each fabric that you've chosen at different widths, 16 inches long. And that's going to give you a 16-inch background block, and then it gives you a 16-inch length to work with on your appliques. I cut them anywhere from 1 inch to 4 inches. I don't want to go smaller than 1 inch. I wouldn't recommend going larger than the 4 inches, or you're going to kind of lose the feel that we're going for here. So what you do after that is, once you've got your strips cut, you cut multiple sizes out of each print. And then you lay them out in a way that you find pleasing. So I'm going to do one for the appliques to show you what I'm talking about. You just lay them however you like them. There's no rule. And you just shift them around until you like what you see. I like that layout. So, then I would take 2 strips, lay them together, one on top of each other. The next 2, lay them on top of each other. And the next 2. Then I take them to my sewing machine and I sew a 1/4 inch seam down each length. Now once you've got them sewn together, you end up with a set that looks like this. This fabric was not wide enough to go 16 inches, so I just went with what I had, which ended up being like 15 inches, so it still works for the applique. And then I would take these and stitch them together. Sew those 2 together. Actually, we sew it here, here, and then bring it back and stitch it to this. And that is how I end up with a strip set similar to this. Now once you've got your strip set ready, you want to cut your appliques out. For my appliques, I'm using circle templates. I got one that is 2 3/4 inches in diameter, one that's 5 inches in diameter, and one that's 7 inches. And I made these with the freezer paper method. If you are not familiar with that, you can click onto the link below and go to my cattywampus video, and it'll show you how to make these templates with freezer paper. After that, you would take your press, once you've got your templates, you will press them to the back of your strip sets. Paying attention to how you're laying them on your strip set to get the design that you want. And you want to make sure that you've got enough space between them to get a 1/4 inch, to leave a 1/4 inch around each circle, because you're going to need that to turn under. I'm going to do it this way, and then here, and then here. And then I will press these down and cut my circles out. Oops. Yeah, put it here just to make it easy. These are not new templates, so it might take a little longer for me to get mine to stick, but when they're brand new, they don't take this long to stick down to adhere. And once they are adhered in place, and you see that these are, then you take your scissors and you cut around them, leaving a 1/4 inch allowance so that you can turn that under. Doesn't have to be perfect because the template is going to make the circle perfect. You don't want a lot of fabric left outside the edge though, because it's more bulk that you've got to work into the turn under. It just makes your job harder. Okay, then you do that for every circle. And you end up with a circle like this that's got that 1/4 inch of fabric all the way around for turning under. After that, you would take your starch. I use the Faultless starch, the heavy finish. And I use this to turn under the edges. You just wet the edge of the circle, wet that fabric around there with the circle, and then you press it over your edge with the iron, with the hot iron. No steam. Just press it over, press it over, press it over. And again, you can look at the cattywampus video and it'll show you exactly how to do that. The link will be below. And you end up with a circle with the pressed over edge like this. Next, all you have to do is peel that circle off of the template. Just like that. Turn your edges back over and they go right back into place, no problem. And then you would apply this to your background. I just put it wherever I want it. I'm going to go right here, I think. You want to make sure not to put it too close to the edge, because when you're all done, you've got to square these up. So you want to leave a little, enough to cut off. I'd say up to 1/2 inch, possibly. I would, leave enough in case you have to go 1/2 inch. And then you want to make sure that you're paying attention to what you could end up having to cut off, what part of the design. So once I've got it where I want it, I take a few pins and put it into place. I'm really starting to love circles for quilt designs. They're not as hard as a lot of people think they are. So after this, we take it over to the sewing machine. And we're going to stitch all the way around that edge. I'm going to use a blind hem stitch, but you could also use a straight stitch or zigzag. It's up to you. I like the way the blind hem stitch looks. But not every machine has that. And the other stitches look nice too. It's up to you how many circles you put on your block. I think I'm just going to leave one on this one. And that's it. Then you take it over here, press down the threads just to set the seams, set the threads. Clean up my loose threads. I flip it over to the back at this point. Oops, I got a little piece caught in there. No biggie. Hey, like the Quilting Marine says, no worries. I'm just going to cut that out of there. I didn't know I picked that up. Okay, so now I flip it to the back. I pull the two layers apart. Pull the two layers apart because I don't want to snip the front. And then I snip right next to the stitch in 1/4 inch away. And then I'm going to stick my scissors in that little hole there. And I'm going to cut all the way around. Being careful with this one because this is going to give me another applique that I am going to use in the border of this quilt. I'm going to turn the edges under of it on it. I'm going to stitch around at 1/4 inch. Follow that seam. Turn it under 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to use it to decorate my borders. It's going to be really neat. When I get done with this quilt, after I've done a couple other videos, I'm going to show you guys a quilt from each video technique that I've shown. A completed quilt. That'll be my quilt showing. So, look for that down the road. See, that gives me a whole nother applique that I can use on the borders. And that reduces the bulk in the back, makes the quilt lighter, but it'll still be snuggly and warm. And that leaves me a block that looks like this. And this block, I think I'm just going to leave the one circle because I've got others that have 4 and 3, and I'm going to have some more with 2, and it's going to be really neat. And you will see that. So if you like what I'm showing you, do me a favor. It's the best thing you can do for me. You can click that subscribe and the bell. and I will see you on my next video. God bless you. Much love. No hate.